Hey guys, what's up? I'm JK with Elevated Recovery, and today we're going to talk about a question that I receive every day. I get emailed this question, this question shows up in all the comments of my videos, and that question is, how long will it take for me to quit my porn addiction? How long will it take for me to get over this? Here's the thing. Quitting porn when you have a problem with it has varying levels of challenge. It really depends on how much porn is affecting your life. And let's say if porn and masturbation have begun to affect your life by, let's say, risking your relationship or affecting your career. For instance, if you're watching pornography at work, and if it's causing you to take dangerous risks like looking for new partners online that you can act out your fantasies with, then a defined timeline to your recovery would be very helpful. Now at Elevated Recovery, what I do when I work with clients is I break down your recovery into 4 stages. In my experience, the further along in your addiction that you are, the more these are going to apply to you. But I also want you to know that not everyone is addicted. If your porn use is just a bad habit that you feel you need to control, then the only thing that needs to change in each of these stages I'm about to talk about is just the amount of time. Now bear in mind that the following stages assume that you are serious about your recovery. Now, of course, there are certain things that will help your recovery, proceed much faster. Having a therapist, a recovery coach, having an accountability partner, or even being part of a support group are some of the factors that really contribute to speeding things up. So let's begin. Stage 1 is the first stage, and I call this the survival stage. This lasts anywhere from between 3 months to a year. The priority in this stage is quitting all behavior that could lead to a relapse or a slip. This includes having very strict control of all your internet-based devices. So your laptop, your smartphone, also deleting any accounts that you use to watch pornography, deleting any dating apps and social media that you find triggering material on. Your logistics also sorted out in this stage. And this means that if you live with your parents or your partner, you'll do things like changing the location where you use your computer to somewhere more public, or leaving the door open while on the internet, or removing password protection from your phone. And I've even had a client recently who put his phone in a time lock box every evening and locked it in his car, and it worked for him to a certain extent. The purpose of this stage is to build a solid foundation for a porn-free life and to literally have a start date for overcoming your addiction. Now personally, I know exactly how long I've been off pornography because I actually had a start date to my recovery. Now during this period, all issues relating to porn addiction are immediately handled and a recovery plan is put in place for the next few months. Now to move on or graduate from this stage, all masturbation and porn use must have ended. So you must be able to control it for a couple of months. Now to recap, to move on from stage 1, you must have been off porn and masturbation for a few months, I would say 3 months. Now, 95% of guys never get past this stage. These are the guys who have tons of videos out there where they're talking about the challenge they're taking to stop masturbation, but 2 years later they're still struggling. What they're doing is that they're playing games in this stage for the rest of their life. The reason why they never get past this stage is because passing stage 1 requires you to deal with 2 issues. The first is denial that you actually have a problem, and the second is resistance to taking care of your problem. Now, you might be thinking, well, these guys seem very serious about this. They admit they have a problem. Well, here's the thing. Some men, deep inside, are actually afraid of letting go of masturbation and pornography because they don't know what they're going to replace that pleasure with. For a lot of them, if they don't have a relationship, or they don't know how to have a relationship, or they don't know how to initiate sexual relationships with women, despite how much they try to quit, they have an unresolved conflict that keeps sabotaging them. See, most men actually struggle with a very serious problem, and they're on YouTube playing around when they actually have a serious porn or sex addiction problem, and they're not seeking professional help. So they remain stuck at this stage. I'll give you a personal example. See, I never truly quit porn until I accepted the fact that my ego didn't want to label me as an addict. So for 13 years, I kept trying all kinds of tricks and counting days, and my ego constantly fed me denial, which created more resistance. And I seemed very good at one point at finding research that supported the fact that I wasn't an addict and sex and porn addiction doesn't exist. And when I did manage to stay off porn for 7 months, and in one case, a year and a few months, I felt as if I had beaten it. Unfortunately, after years of negative effects on my life, like failed relationships, loss of motivation, lack of consistency at work, negative effects on my health, all these effects on my life finally just overcame my ego's need to not identify myself as someone who had a problem. So I took this seriously, got professional help, and began the process of recovery. And there's no shame in that. The second stage is what I call stability. And this could be anywhere from 6 months to about a year and a half. Now, at this stage, you should have a deep understanding of your relationship with pornography. And you should also have developed a daily routine which helps your recovery. At this point, the routine that you have should be a habit. So you're not waking up every morning and thinking, you know what, I'm a recovering porn addict. I need to do this and I need to do that. No. By this stage, you have moved past denial and resistance. So your progress is actually very measurable, and you legitimately feel a healthy sense of accomplishment. If you have a coach or someone that's mentoring you, you actually look forward to seeing them. You're learning more about addiction recovery, and you're studying more about self-improvement. And usually if you're working with a therapist or a coach, you're not seeing them that often at this stage. But to move past this stage, first, you must accept and understand all the behaviors that porn addiction has led you to. This includes trying to act out specific scenes with your partner or your spouse, acting out in different ways, and you also should have been off pornography and masturbation consistently for about 6 months minimum. The next stage is stage 3, which is the maintenance stage. And this can last anywhere from a year and a half to up to 3 years. Now, at this point, you are absolutely honest about your sexual life. You may be in a stable relationship, or you are consciously improving in the area of relationships. Your knowledge of yourself and recovery is actually quite deep. And basically, you've taken full responsibility for your recovery. At this time, you're ready to move on from an accountability partner or from a therapist or from a coach. Now, in the case of the men that I work with, this is usually where I speak to them maybe 3 or 4 times a year, just to check in with them and see how things are going. To move on to the next stage, you must be free of pornography. You shouldn't be having any sort of slips or relapses. There shouldn't be any sort of acting out behavior. You should also have dealt or be dealing with some of your major issues. Maybe you have some emotional issues like anger issues. Also, you should be capable of maintaining a functional, happy relationship with women. There shouldn't be anything weird about it at this point. Now, stage 4 is mastery. And the men at this stage should have been recovering for 2 to 3 years. Now, your progression in this stage really depends on, firstly, how bad you really want porn out of your life. It also depends on whether you work alone or with a therapist, counselor, or coach. Another thing that it's dependent on is how strong your maintenance plan or your recovery plan has been. Now, the first 6 to 12 months of this stage, I usually spent working on deeper issues not related to pornography. Maybe they are childhood issues, issues with women, maybe you have some sort of spiritual dilemma and other beliefs. You're able to do a lot of these on your own, and if you have a therapist at this point, that is very, very helpful. Sometimes if you have a coach, it's great for a quick check-in, just to make sure that maybe just to get a little bit of accountability. Now, your maintenance and your recovery plan has become a seamless part of your life. A personal example is for over 8 years, I've maintained a strict daily routine. So I've only missed a few days each year, which covers my physical health, my mental health, my mindset, and my financial health. Now, about 6 of those years have been spent in stage 4, with the first 2 years being spent in stage 3. It all began for me with 15 minutes every morning dedicated to my recovery from porn addiction, and it's evolved into this hour and a half to 2 hour ritual that honestly has enabled me to become a lot more fit than I was a few years ago. It's helped me out in business. It's helped me to become quite immune to negativity and sadness and depression. I used to be a very angry person. My recovery from pornography addiction wasn't a drag, and it wasn't too hard. Ironically, it's actually helped me create a life that I had no idea how to achieve. I would look at people and be like, I can never do that. That's not me. That's not my personality. But now I have the freedom that I want. I look and feel better than I thought I would feel at this age. I'm a lot more driven, and I'm a lot better off than I would have been if I followed a regular path that society laid out for me. And those who are close to me are aware of my struggles, and they have nothing but support and respect for me. Now, when you successfully recover, people who never listened to you and never paid attention to you somehow get more drawn to you. And I might be going into the realm of bro science here, but this is just my experience. You're going to exude a certain type of energy. It's like a self-assurance that comes from, I think it comes from following a very disciplined process like recovery from porn addiction. See, I was in sales for many years, and it was direct door-to-door sales. And it wasn't until I stopped watching porn and masturbating that I had the confidence and the ability to close sales and make cold calls and deal with a ton of rejection from people and build a sales organization. So recovery can be a blessing instead of a burden. It does take work, but honestly, every aspect of your life grows with it. And I'm not trying to scare anyone off by saying that it might take like a year or over 2 years. For a lot of guys in their 20s and in their late teens, that can seem like an incredibly long time. But I just want you to know that over the years, it's going to be worth it. For some of you, this is going to be one of the biggest challenges, one of the biggest battles that you're ever going to face in your life. So that's it. Those are the 4 stages of recovery from porn addiction. And if you found this video helpful, please take a moment to subscribe to our channel and share this video with 3 of your friends, because you never know who needs help. And if you want to work with me directly, all you need to do is look for the link in the description below and just reach out to me. I wish you all the best in your journey to overcome your porn addiction.